What do hippos eat? Fish?
No, they're vegetarians. Welcome to the official, unofficial Sea of Thieves podcast, a podcast dedicated to Sea of Thieves and other rare games, but mainly Sea of Thieves. Earlier this week, Season 4 released, which is a perfect reason to make another podcast episode. We will be discussing the new underwater shrines, but this season also expands the lore. Not as big as the last season, but you would be surprised at what clues are hidden beneath the waves. And in this episode, I am once again assisted by my wonderful, official, unofficial co-host.
Hi folks, I'm AShinyRay, the unofficial host of the official, unofficial Sea of Thieves podcast.
As always, it's so good to have you. It's always nice to have you on the podcast.
I've noticed the quality of the podcast has gone up since I've been on here. I don't know if it's a coincidence or, you just realise you've got a professional in your hands now. But yeah, I definitely think it's a lot better now with me on it.
Hi, thanks. Nobody wants Uniball back. That's fine. So I want Uniball back. Anyways, before we dive into the topic at hand, I want to address something to the listeners. Every time a new podcast episode comes out, I get questions about, can you publish this on other platforms like Spotify, and it would be so nice. And yeah, I'm happy to announce that we are working on it. So that's all I can say for now. Also, in other rare-related news, Crystal Dynamics is helping the initiative now with making the new Perfect Dark game. I thought I snuck that little tidbit of information in there. You familiar with the Perfect Dark games, by the way, Ray?
Yeah, I have played them. I think when I played them, we discussed this on our Microsoft podcast. I have played them, but they were quite dated when I did. I played them on Rare Replay. But it's funny you mentioned that. The first quadruple A studio is getting a triple A studio to help it out. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident. I'm really happy with how Crystal Dynamics works. I really like the Tomb Raider games they made. Also, one of the previous guests on the podcast was actually a developer for Crystal Dynamics. He was Old Buccaneer, for those who still remember. And he worked on the Tomb Raider games too. So I'm pretty confident that they help Perfect Dark. I really think it's in good hands. And I hope it's going to be a Perfect Dark like I'm like, because I'm always not really sold on the games yet. Kind of missed that in my youth. And like you, I went back to them and they kind of felt a little bit outdated. So yeah, good hopes that the new Perfect Dark game is going to be amazing.
Me too. I agree.
All right, so let's kick it back to Sea of Thieves and let's start with these shrines. 6 of them have been added and they can be found all over the world. They are mainly built by the Sirens, but sometimes feature ancient structure or shipwrecks from past naval battles. It all looks pretty nice. It's absolutely amazing. Art design is great. Within these shrines lay different challenges, and we are rewarded with both treasures, but also lore. So, how do we feel about this edition?
At first, I was really skeptical because water levels don't really tend to pan out quite well, with a few exceptions of different games. But actually playing all of these through from start to finish, they've been really fun. I've really enjoyed these.
Yeah, same. It's mainly the art direction for me. I'm gonna be completely honest. You feel that there's the stories there, right? Like in some shrines, we see the figurehead of the silver blade. In other shrine, there was this big naval battle, and you see all these shipwrecks. You see the structures of the ancients, and they use those those temples or ruins as a place of worship or to communicate with the merfolk. And there's so much history behind it that I don't know. I just really like that aspect of the shrines.
I think they feel like suitably alien as well. I know, like in the Sea of Thieves, we get quite familiar territory across all 4 biomes. However, when you go to the Sunken Kingdom, it does feel like another world entirely.
So it's interesting because you said Sunken Kingdom, and to dive right into it, like we learn in some of the shrines, especially in the Asian Islands, those used to be more at sea level, and now they're under the water. Did you catch that?
Yeah, so I did. I was actually thinking about this last night before I went to sleep. I couldn't make heads or tails whether they've sunken down or the sea level used to be lower. So I think it's probably the former. it would be hilarious to see the Sea of Thieves at that depth because there'd be basically nothing. There'd be no water but loads of land, and all the islands we know and love now would be on huge mountain peaks.
Yeah, it kind of feels a bit like Wind Waker then, right? Like you have this underwater world that's still there, and all the islands are actually mountain peaks.
Yeah, I think they've sunk down.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Like the hint is in the title, right? Sunken Kingdom.
Yeah, not the previous sea level kingdom.
No, not as marketable title. No. Um,
Definitely not.
so that's we talked a bit about scenery now, but there's a lot of puzzles and challenges in there. Some we have done before. All mechanics we've tried as well, like turning capstans or lighting torches, even doing those merfolk statue puzzles. So how do you feel about this variety of challenges?
I'd say 4 out of 6 of them are really, really interesting and fun puzzles. There's one that's okay, that's just a bit more of the sunken pearl, and there's one that just I didn't really like at all because it wasn't very complex. That was the Shrine of Flooded Embrace. I felt like it was just a bit simple for my taste, and there was too much swimming. I know it's water levels, but the other one seemed to balance the two quite nicely.
Yeah, the sunken embrace is where you just dive down and that's it, right?
Yeah, you swim from the top shipwreck to the bottom and find some really well placed hidden journals, but and you get to fight some sirens on the way down, but it's not the most interesting. You can literally swim straight to the bottom if you really want. Other than that, yeah, the puzzles and the challenges were a fresh experience. They felt like mini dungeons to me.
Yeah, same. Also, this also brings some complaints. These additional, obviously, because are we gonna, willing to complete all these puzzles again and again if you do these shrines, or do you feel these shrines are not meant to last that long? So, what's your take on that?
So I think they've added which we'll discuss later, the Breath of the Sea
Hmm.
commendation to force people to replay it. But without that, yeah, the loot's not lucrative enough for you to return to these, especially considering how long you leave your ship behind.
It's interesting. I see it a lot in my comments. Like some people are quite harsh on this. He said, "No, this update isn't good because we only played 1 or 2 days, and then we got the curse, and then this, it's business as usual." Other people are a bit more nuanced to it. They're like, "Yeah, no, it's just for this season, but it's fine." And eventually, I just return to the treasuries, and that's all good. Like the experience might be short, but the quality is really good. So they're two sides, and they're kind of like they kind of agree those both sides, but one is a bit more negative. I don't know if you got that in your comments or seen that around in the community.
Not yet. I haven't put my review out, which will be going out Sunday the 26th. So this will
Yeah,
probably
which
be
is in the
already out.
past.
In the past, yeah, in the
So if you're
past.
listening to this podcast, make sure to watch Shiny Ray's review.
I'll probably gauge it from that, but I sort of agree that it's one and done content again, like the Tall Tales from A Pirate's Life. But you do have the treasuries, which are kind of lucrative considering how short they are. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And something else that I figured is that, well, CFTs always get an influx of new players, right? And not everybody is as fast as we are, or even most of the subscribers. I feel like we have some hardcore subscribers that really rush through the content just because they have a lot of time and are good at the game. But other players are maybe taking it on a slower pace, and you can see those ships still doing the shrines well in the future, I believe, and that's great for us too because we can steal their stuff.
I think we were the exception, not the rule, that we got attacked once and they weren't very good, so they didn't sink us. But we
Yeah.
weren't bothered for the pretty much the whole of the content, other than that one instance, and they went down like a sack of shit, essentially.
Yeah, that was really surprising. So for the listeners who aren't aware, me and AShinyRay basically been doing this update together, together with some other crewmates, obviously. And we were just very lucky. Like every shrine we did, we all went down together, and we never got attacked. So I feel we are definitely the exception with this one. Yeah.
I also think because there's a rush of people interested in this new content, a lot of people going off to do their own things. And the only conflict arises when another ship sees you and they want to do that shrine. I know you had with the Sunken Pearl a lot of dickheads that would just spawn camp and sink boats, which, you can sink people into your thieves, but like when they're doing a tall tale, there's no need. This is different because you can actually benefit from it. But like we stole someone's loot from tucking on the ship, but that's also because we needed to do that shrine, and they were in our way. So yeah, I'll let you judge us on that one.
Yeah, I think it's fair game. If you can do it, it's all fair game. You have your own morality rules. Like when I see people doing tall tales, like we've met a guy doing tall tale Heart of Fire, I believe, and he had his key, and we didn't sink him. We said, all right, we could sink you. We told the guy, but we're not. But we will take all your treasure, and that's exactly what we did. We just ferried all his treasure over to our ship and let him finish a tall tale. And I think that's a perfect solution to leave people do that tall tale, but still be a pirate.
To be fair, he did have a Reaper's chest and was flying a Reaper emissary. I don't know what he was playing at. He was quite lucky he didn't get a face full
He
of
was-
shot. I mean, he
I,
understood. He was like, yes, you just take the treasure and go. I'm just trying to get my Ashen curse.
that's true. I mean, come on, if you do tall tales, don't fly the Reaper, but that's fine. He will learn the hard way eventually. He just didn't learn it from us.
No, but we were the merciful hand that day.
Hi. So getting back to the topic of leaving your ship behind, because that can be annoying. Like we've done some shrines where, all right, like our crew did it, and it was like, all right, I've done this shrine. We have a lot of treasure on board. I'll just wait in the crow's nest. I'll be on the lookout, and that actually worked fine. It's not going to work for all crews because not everybody has done the shrines and can complete them really quickly. There are definitely shrines where you need to scratch the back of your head a little bit before you find the solution. Going off that people are just different. Then it can be quite boring if you leave somebody behind. But for our crew, it works fine. Leaving somebody on the ship.
And we only had
Y-
to do that the second time round, didn't we, when we were going to the final voyage shrines?
Yes, yes. So not for the first time completing the shrine, but for the second times, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
was fine, and I think the same will go for the treasuries. Like if you have an experienced crew who can do the shrines and treasuries fairly quickly, it's not that boring to leave one person behind.
it was especially fun for me because I never had to stay behind once.
Yeah, because you were streaming.
And
That's
I'm the
next time, Ray. When we're not streaming, you'll be left behind. I'll make
I'm the
sure of it.
captain though. I'll make sure I'm not staying on that ship.
So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say about the leaving your ship behind. Unless you want to add something to that.
Nah, we hit the nail on the head, I think.
All right, and I think we also answered the question. I'm going to ask it again. Do you think these updates, the shrines, but we'll take the treasuries in there as well? Do you think this is enough to justify a season?
Yes. It's the second biggest season. Arguably the biggest, depending on how you consider Tall Tales, because Pirate's Life was Tall Tales into enemy types. This is technically a map expansion with dungeons, new loot, new rewards, which we don't really get anymore in seasons unless it's tied to the season pass. And from looking at the timer, it's only 10 weeks. So I think, yeah, this is enough to justify this being a whole season.
Yeah, nice that you addressed it. By the way, you said 10 weeks. You can because you're looking at the event, right?
I'm looking at the countdown clock. Obviously, Rare can always delay it, but as it stands now, this season's only lasting 10 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty short, which would make sense because they always do something for Christmas as well.
Yeah, it makes me
But
think, will the season 5 be a small one because they don't want to put a big feature out because they'll be away at Christmas and they won't be able to patch it. But then again, they also only release patches or big patches with the monthly Pirate Emporium refresh. So they could leave that to January, and they could always do a hot fix in the 2 weeks before Christmas. But yeah, I digress.
yeah, either way, this season is a bit shorter than other seasons, and we'll get something around Christmas, right?
And if they delay it till January, it will be the longest season, which is after Pirate's Life. I don't want that to happen again because the game was dead for like 6 weeks at least, or 2 months if you want to be coy about it.
Yeah, and especially like we were always doing our ledges pretty quickly, and then the last month of the season is like, yeah, why I'm really playing Thieves just to get the gold. Like the goals kind of disappear. It's still fun. Don't get me wrong. It's always nice to play with my crew. But the goals start to disappear a little bit at the end of a season. Speaking about goals and rewards, let's talk about the rewards, including the final reward, which is the curse. So how do you feel about the loot we get and the cosmetics we get in this update?
Obviously, a lot of it's reskins, save for the new merchant stuff. And you actually pointed this out, I think, when we were playing, that merchants didn't have small items unless you count mermaid gems to put in chests, which I never even realised. So that's welcome. They're not really worth a whole lot, even for sunken loot. In fact, we didn't even raise our emissary to cash them in. They were worth so little. And they're quite rare as well compared to the skulls and chests. But yeah, Ray,
Yeah.
I liked the new loot design when it didn't glitch out and turn to normal. Um, and yeah, the new rewards, the Sunken Sorrow stuff looks a lot better now that it's complete. The ship set anyway. The weapons look like Nerf guns. If you're
Yeah,
into
they
that,
they kind of do. Yeah, come to
the
think of
sword
it,
looks
yeah.
the sword looks cool because it looks like you've just made a sword out of a really sharp piece of coral, which coral can get really sharp. And I love the Curse of Sunken Sorrow. I think it looks fantastic, especially with the blue glowing eyes, and you get like this almost like infected flesh look on your chest.
Mhm.
I might swap it for my Ashen Curse. I'll see how it looks like. If people can't start complaining they miss the Ashen Curse, I'll swap back.
You should do whatever you want to do, man.
But
I
no,
think it looks better on you.
the Ashen Curse looks iconic, but I think my character looks just as cool with the Sunken Sorrow, and I prefer blue as a color anyway.
I A lot of people were disappointed that it's not, a barnacle curse. Like people were expecting to be covered in barnacles and coral and stuff like that, but it's more skin tone change with blue eyes. So how do you feel about that?
Uh, it's really hard for them to model something like that because of all the clipping through your clothes, unless they manage to wipe it off when you put clothes on. But it's a lot of work. I know that's their job and they get paid for that, but it's just really difficult to replicate something like that on all body types as well when you're adding 3D elements. But yeah, I do agree you could have added a few more textures, maybe like even if it was 2D, like some coral looks on your arms, sort of like the skeletons you can see with the coral over them. Just make a 2D effect and make
Hmm.
it a bit more multicolored. But I like the curse how it is, but that's just my opinion.
I like the curse how it is as well, but I did feel that this is just one curse, and a barnacle curse is bound to happen in the future. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Maybe it remains to be seen how much of the story this is going to make up of it, but I can see another advancement of the Sunken Sorrow curse being a thing because it looks like our players have an early version of it, especially in the lore.
Yeah, indeed. Like we're just getting affected, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. I feel the same way. Are you ready to dive into the lore?
yeah, as ready as I'll ever be.
So in the trailers, they said, or especially in the deep dive, they said that the sunken kingdom has awoken. So what awoke the sirens? Do you know that?
Well, it's sort of hinted at in the or you can piece it ever in a pirate's life, but it seems Dimitri and the second crew of the Silver Blade, when they found the bones of the Siren King and the chest of everlasting sorrow, they stole it and ran away from some skeletons. And the Siren King's soul had been placed in the chest, or was in the chest before he found it, and they recognized a song when he sailed over the Siren Citadel, and that caused them to awake, thinking the king had returned. They swam up to the surface and clawed at the ship, sunk it, and then they realized, oh, what have they done to our Siren King? And that's what's caused them to awake from their slumber.
Yep, I couldn't explain it better. So that's exactly what has happened. That's the reason why sirens are back in the world. We also get a lot of journals that expand the lore within these shrines. They kind of tell the same story, so we're not gonna go over them individually unless we really want to. So can you tell me the story these journals tell us? Like what happened with the ancients, what happened with the Sea Queen, and what happened with the warrior?
So some of it is unclear, and can be kind of contradictory. So it looks like the warrior, an ancient, a really powerful ancient that's known for warmongering, fell in love with a mermaid queen or the sea queen at the time. So she wasn't a siren at this point, and love between the two would have been forbidden. But they believed that if he was turned into the Siren King or the Sea King at the time, love would conquer all. It would conquer any curse, and they could be together in harmony. So the Sea Queen said, "Okay, we're going to turn him into a Sea King. It's going to be turned into a mermaid," which is forbidden by the ancients and the mermaids at the time. She disagreed. Obviously, being royalty, she gets the final say. She turned him into the sea using mermaid gems, possibly the breath of the sea. That's unclear. And this unleashed a plague on merfolk kind. I assume it was everyone at the ritual. Yeah, it's called the Whispering Plague, which this transformation caused the sirens or the mermaids at the time before they were sirens to lose their song. And when a mermaid loses their song, they technically lose how they are because it's how they remember things, it's how they communicate as well. This turned them into the sirens, and the plague actually became infectious. So the sirens were exiled because the mermaids didn't want to become sirens. For some reason, the ancients decided that they wanted to kill the Sea King. Basically, they believed that the sirens' existence was against the balance of the Sea of Thieves, which they respect. So they were highly religious, and the mermaids agreed. The high priest, who's another ancient, this is getting really long-winded now, but this is the whole thing, tricks the warrior, who's the Sea King now, by singing the Queen's song. He goes up to the surface to see. He gets dragged on board a ship. He gets taken away, and in a ritual, they kill him. They scatter his bones round a chest of everlasting sorrow, and they bind his soul into that to make sure he doesn't come back. Siren Queen finds out about this. War erupts between the two, and they go to war, and it basically brings calamity to the Sea of Thieves between the mermaids, the ancients, and the sirens. Did you want me to go on and spoil the final revelation?
But yeah, so far you've told us the story that we can piece together by doing the journals, right?
Hmm? Yeah.
And now you have your own take on it, which could very well be what is actually going on. So yeah, please tell us your theory.
Okay, so at this point, piecing this together, so I released a video talking about who the actual Sea King is, and I think it's Flameheart Senior. It sounds really far fetched, but when you put the pieces together, it does make a lot of sense. So we know the warrior was an ancient, and from the Stars from a Thief journal, we know the warrior was an ancient that thirst for war, and we know his thirst for war still lingers on. If you look at Flameheart's Top Trump's description, yeah, we're getting into deep lore now. He's happy. He's gleefully waged war across the Sea of Thieves. He's a warmonger at the end of the day, and during his return speech in the Seabound Soul, he mentions that he was betrayed by his own kind. Well, for the years we thought this was the Skeleton Lords or the pirates or anyone like that who'd ally with Flameheart. But as it goes on, he does swear vengeance together against the Merfolk. So we think, well, I think now his vengeance is against his killing, because they agreed to kill him. When he was the Sea King, he would have been a mermaid then. And along with that, he does have an affiliation for binding. He seems to be the first person to know the binding ritual, and this appears to be ancient magic because we know now the Siren King was bound to the Chest of Sorrow. So he would be aware of that magic as an ancient, for him to spread it around the Sea of Thieves. And obviously, if he knows about that, he can endure and bind himself to different bodies, what have you. I won't go into specifics of how he's come back, but the last thing that really hit home for me is that if you listen to the Siren Queen's theme, or Heart's as it's called, it's the exact same melody as Captain Flameheart's theme. And I believe that because the theme is shared, his version now of Who Shall Not Be Returning is leftover of his Siren song. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And the reason
Yeah.
he's back is because he's angry at everyone because they killed him and basically separated him from his love.
Yeah, indeed, and that's why he also hates the mermaids too, because they didn't agree with his love of the Siren Queen.
Which now, for all intents and purposes, makes Flameheart look like quite a just and righteous fellow if that's happened to him, and he's not really done anything wrong.
Yeah, which would make sense because pirates and characters in the Sea of Thieves are they also always have a bit of gray in them as well.
Yeah, I think that's testament to their character writing and world building that even the good characters aren't completely good. Like Ramsey was a terrible father and
Yeah.
left his wife pregnant, well, not pregnant at the time, but with two twins, to live his life of adventure, and he never returns to her, not fully anyway, and he died in the Sea of Thieves, leaving her widowed. Something else I wanted to add about the Flameheart theory is that if you look at him and his dress sense, it's very different to what everyone else wears.
Mm,
Like the bones could be obviously a motif because he's a skeleton lord, but it's his outfit and everything is really old looking, and even the name Flameheart sounds like a nickname, but it could be an ancient naming convention. Like his name could have literally been Flameheart, obviously inspired by Native American naming conventions, that sort of style.
mm. I do feel we learn more about the name Flameheart. I always thought it had to do with his flamey powers that he took from the Devil's Roar, like those crystals that lie in the Devil's Roar, and which he used to infuse his Ashen Lords as well, so they have flamey powers. That's how I take it.
Yeah, and in Suds' final journal as well, in the Shrine of Tribute, he does mention that when they bound him, he was, I think they called it some sort of fire. I don't know if that was his term, just saying fire is quite powerful, but the association with fire, it doesn't go without notice.
Mm,
But yeah, I
yeah.
could be wrong, but it's starting to shape up to look like that, I think.
Definitely. It's definitely interesting. I love following this. Like since you've told me that, like I keep it in the back of my mind and I try to connect the new information with, your findings as well. And so far it fits. Like I said, I'm not totally convinced, but I like to follow your train of thought along with you. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of gaps that need to be filled in, but logically, we were talking about on the stream, weren't we? And I managed to piece it all together, but there's a lot of ifs and buts there.
Yeah.
But it could work. It could work.
Yes, and also we're just setting this up, right? Sea of Thieves, like it sounds weird, like it's 3 years old, but it's still pretty young for the plans they have. So yeah, we don't get all the answers right now. That's fine. We're just gonna get a little bit of a setup now. So yeah, that's good. That's totally fine.
I feel like we're entering Act Two at the moment. If we went for a 10-year pacing, I think we've just gone into Act Two.
I but let's leave all that discussion and speculation aside for now. We've talked long enough about it. The only lore thing I do want to mention is the final voyage. So, spoiler warning for those who still need to complete all the shrines. If you do complete all the shrines, you can get a special voyage from Larina, which is all about Humphrey the Gold Hoarder from, I think, Sanctuary Outpost, right?
Yeah, Humphrey. Yeah,
Yeah, and a scholar too, an unnamed scholar. So, what can you tell us about that final voyage? What is it that we do?
I want you to talk about this because I've just spoke for a very long time. I want to hear your take first of all, or at least what you think we're doing in the voyage.
Well, obviously, the voyage is. I was kind of hoping you would help me out with this one. But the voyage is actually written by Humphrey and a scholar who went, as I see it, exploring in the shrines as well, and they
Mhm.
find a secret in one of the shrines. And to cover up that secret, they put a certain key in a chest, and then lock that key with three different keys and hit the keys over the other shrines. So your objective is to use the wayfinder compass we know from the Gold Hoarder voyages. Obviously, that's the influence of Humphrey in that in that voyage.
Yeah.
Um, and find the keys, open the big key, and use the big key to unlock a certain chamber to see what they indeed did discover. So that's my take on the voyage in a nutshell.
Yeah, you've got it spot on from what we can gather of the final revelation. Are you happy for me to talk about that now?
Please do.
So we get all the keys from three different shrines. We unlock the chest, and it reveals a giant triangular key. And we take this to the Shrine of Tribute. We place it in an altar next to a giant stone door, and the giant stone door opens. And
Yeah,
in it,
Shrine of Ancient Tears, isn't it?
I got swapped around there. Blubber's right, it's the Shrine of Ancient Tears. So we end up there getting the last key. We open up this giant stone door at the bottom, and it reveals some sort of altar, and we can see a skeleton laid to rest there with coral all over it. And there's a journal there written by the scholar, and basically details what happens and confirms exactly what happens to the ancients and the sirens and what caused the breakout. But there's one sort of final tidbit of information. The ancients, they used to be warring people, but they sort of became soft living in the shroud because the Devil's Shroud protected them from outside threats. And during the War of the Sirens, they were getting their asses kicked essentially because they were weak. They've obviously lost their most powerful warrior to the Siren Queen. So a female warrior, so this is a different warrior now, takes up her sword, says, I'm going to sort this out. I'm going to go defeat the sirens. She goes into the sea. She defeats the sirens, and then she comes back. But in her victory, she's caught a nasty curse from going into the Siren Kingdom. And in order to stop this curse from spreading, they kill her and sacrifice her. And that's the skeleton we see on the altar. But yeah, there's some theories on who this female warrior is, but we'll talk about that another time because we're in too far in speculation territory at the point. Is that what you agreed what happened?
Yeah, like I followed it for now. I'm happy with the explanation for now. Obviously, when we did it too, we read the journal. It was a lot to take in. It was we kind of expected something different as well, to be honest, because our line of thoughts was all about Flameheart and the Sea Queen and the warrior, and then we read that journal and they use the same noun, warrior, again, which was really confusing, especially now that it was talking about a female. So yeah, I'm happy with that answer for now, but we need to sink it in a little bit. It's too early to really connect the dots right now.
I read it and it was like, shit, is my theory wrong already? And then I read it through again and it was like, okay, the warrior's not capitalized and this is long after the Sea King had been killed. So it's two different warriors, but I agree they should have used a different noun to describe the female warrior.
Yeah, indeed. So who do you think that scholar is, by the way?
I haven't really given this much thought.
I did.
Yeah, I want to hear yours because I have no idea.
Well, first I thought scholar, right? So we read the novels, and when they talk about scholars, it's usually an Order of Souls person, like they are associated with being scholars. However, it could also be Umbra. Like it's obviously a person that's the same generation of Humphrey because they did together. So it's not somebody from way back to the past. And Umbra is kind of scholar, plus her journals are also in the Shrine of Ancient Tears. So they might have gone spelunking together and found that entrance.
Well, that's a good show actually. The only other scholar I can think of in the lore is Flameheart Jr., but I don't think it's him.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was a female scholar for some reason, but oh well.
Yeah,
That's my take. I think it's Umbra as of now.
Yeah, it can't be Flameheart Jr. because he's with the Catman at the moment and he hasn't come back to the Sea of Thieves in a very long time. And this seems quite recent, this venture into the Sunken Kingdom. It's like the update dropped and Umbra was just waiting for the servers to come online. She just rushed through it. Yeah, got my Sunken Sorrowcast. First in the world.
Indeed. She might change. If she starts changing, you know what's up. So let's move away from the lore. Let's keep it not too lore heavy. This podcast. Let's go get back to the gameplay with these Siren treasuries, because it's not only shrines that hide beneath the waves. Siren treasuries have also been added. I love them. I just love doing them. Like mini forts, you go down, you kill some stuff, you get rewarded, and you're on your merry way again. So what's your take on those Siren treasuries?
Yeah, we only did one playing together, and it was really fun. I really like them. It's like a mini fort. You don't have to fight skeletons. It's not the Fort of Fortune, and you get nice coral loot as well. And they make it quite easy because you've got the tridents as well and gunpowder kegs. Yeah, it's just nice to fight something else in a little world event, and you're not. It's like a mini world event as well, so not everyone knows it's active until they're nearby. It's the same style of content, but done in a new way to make it feel replayable and different, which is a nice way to repurpose content.
Yeah, definitely. And I also feel that one of the themes of of this season was variety. Like all the shrines are different, and the treasuries as well. Like I had some comments, people saying, "Well, the actual arena is the same, like it's circular, and all the treasuries are like that." They want a bit more variety in their arenas, which I kind of agree that would have been nice. But it's fine, and there's not variety in the challenges you face, because sometimes the water fills and you fight sirens, then the water drops, you fight coral skellies with kegs, or those barnacle buddies. So it's a nice bit of variety that you don't really get with the forts anymore, because they're just skellies and we've seen all this before, and you're just going through the motions. And these feel still a bit new and interesting.
I think they could have added the phantoms as well as drowned sailors, just as another enemy you can fight. I don't know why they didn't do that. That would work lore wise and gameplay wise.
Hmm. I'd rather have them do the ghosts for Halloween, for a Halloween event, like a new type of fort where you fight different ghosts or something like that.
Or add them to the Fort of the Damned, maybe.
Yeah, maybe if it fits lore wise, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
The only other thing I want to uh, tell about the Siren treasuries, it's another comment I got on one of my videos. And some people were disappointed that there's no boss battle there. Again, I agree. I'm not really disappointed that there's no boss battle, but it would have been nice to have like finally or giant enemy crab boss battle, as a final battle to those treasuries.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have been icing on the cake for me.
But it sounds like something they can easily add in the future.
Hopefully.
So the final topic I want to discuss is the coral message in a bottle. This new bottle type that will always lead to a breath of the sea potion. These potions can be in both shrines and treasuries. When they spawn in shrines, they will spawn on these red thrones. So if you see a red throne and you're wondering why sitting on them doesn't unlock new combinations like skeleton thrones, you now know why. So how do we feel about these coral message in a bottle?
They're okay. I think they're a tool to stop you from just easily repeating the shrines to get these coral bottles. Yeah, I like them. I like the fact they give replayability to the shrines and treasuries, and they seem to buff the loot as well if they're active. It could be just me, but I think I noticed that. It looks like they should be able to do more rather than just a piece of loot that you can sell to any trading company.
Yeah. So that's quite interesting because it is a potion, right? And when you hold it, it has the animation of holding a tankard.
Hmm.
And the other animation of a tankard is actually drinking it. So yeah, it might be a hint to future content. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I feel like this. Obviously, this is speculation territory now. I feel like this was meant to be coming in season 4, and it might come in a later season, and they couldn't get it working properly because lore-wise, it's the same stuff as Siren gems, and they've literally explained in this update that Siren gems are used to turn people into merfolk. So drinking this should turn you into a merfolk. Excuse me.
Hmm. Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Potentially.
We don't really know how it works exactly. Still, we got some more answers. To get back to the lore, I do want to mention this because I was really happy when I found this out. You can find this out by reading the journals left behind by Duke. And I really loved reading those journals because we finally get some answers. Because I was really confused about the difference between mermaid gems and siren gems. Like, are some made by the mermaids and are these siren gems made by the sirens? But that doesn't make sense because the mermaid statues, they hurt you, and they're obviously built by the sirens. So we got some answers. The gems contain the souls of certain people who got cursed and are slowly transforming. They're slowly transforming merfolk into sirens. So once somebody is finally turned into a siren, that mermaid gem gets corrupted. Keep in mind that gem is containing the soul, and you get a corrupted siren gem. So, so yeah, I may be fumbling a bit with my words, but I hope I got the explanation across.
You got it spot on there. You don't need to worry about fumbling your words. Yeah, exactly what Blubber said.
All right, cool. The only other thing I want to mention is that the bottles also come in the three colors. just like the gems. So that's blue, green, and red. So obviously, gameplay-wise, they're higher in value. I don't really know if there's a lore explanation behind that, other than the colors get referenced in the lore.
No, I don't think it's explained. For anyone wondering as well, it's 4, 8, and 12K. So it goes sapphire, emerald, and ruby in terms of cheapest to most
I
expensive.
just realized that those are the colors of the Pokemon games too, right?
Someone's a secret Gen 3 fan over at Rare, aren't they? Just like, how can I fit my
Mm.
Gen 3 obsession into Sea of Thieves?
I wonder if it's some done on purpose, but oh well. Oh well, I guess we'll never find out.
At least we know Kyogre's their least favorite and Groudon's their favorite.
I indeed. So let's answer a question from the community about these potions, because Bennabelle asks us, I hate that we now have a potion in the game we cannot drink. So, if the Breath of the Sea potion, or whatever it's called, had an effect when drunk, what should it be?
Um, I thought about this the other day. It should turn you into a mermaid temporarily, but with that you get unlimited underwater breath and you swim faster. If you die, you're back to human. If you touch land, you're back to human. If you go on a ship, you're back to human. So it's not like you can keep reusing it and it's a one and done thing. And obviously, once you've drank it, you've lost yourself for 8 or 12K for the cost of becoming a mermaid.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? So, if they will become drinkable, which I do think is going to happen, are they going to lose their value when you drink them? And are you really want to waste, 4K at the least to get a certain benefit? Like, 4K is quite a lot of gold. Like, I don't really want to turn into a mermaid if I can get 4K.
But you could also use that 4K as an advantage to steal from other people.
Mm-hmm. Yep, obviously, but then it needs to be something really good, right?
I think if they did do hypothetically speaking, I think if they did do a transformation, you would swim as fast as a sloop against the wind, or maybe a galleon against the wind, so it's not too overpowered. It'd be used for boarding, like long range tucking, um, but it would be nice to be able to use it to, you know, easily board a ship during a ship combat to get their anchor down. Something like that. Like these sort of tools versus rules idea of Sea of Thieves, I think that would be really cool, especially if it's a temporary effect and one that you have to find out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they've been experimenting more with that, it seems, with guidance.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like they obviously have a good idea what it's going to be, and I'm kind of like blank with this. Like it could be that science don't attack you when you drink it. It could be an implementation for lore, but then again, I don't think it's going to be a lore thing because you will be able to find them in the world. Um, so yeah, so the only thing I can say for sure, slight advantage in PvP probably. Um, and that's all I can say about that. I think.
I mean, you could probably use it as an advantage if you're fighting sirens, but it's not like the sirens are that difficult. You need a buff.
I Either way, very good question, Manabel. Like this is something we'll be thinking about until we know the answer. So it's also nice, like if you are listening to this podcast and you have thoughts on your own, what the potion should be, please let us know. To add to that, SGM Jammed also has this question. He likes to know our opinion about new throwables like smoke grenades to add and see if thieves. So how do we feel about that? Do we want something like that?
More tools, the better. I really think expanding the sandbox outside of the 4 starting weapons, and not just weapons like the tridents, but things like smoke bombs, water bombs to put out fire, grappling hooks, all this sorts of stuff can really expand the game and just make encounters that much more dynamic. And the PvP fans will like that as well because they've got something else to use to bully new players.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but that's a good one from Jammed actually, because smoke
Mm.
grenades I definitely see happening. It could be just like a firebomb or a blunder bomb, like you have a smoke bomb, and when you use it, for your cannon, you can shoot it at their cannon line. They can't see you, but you can still see them, which is a huge advantage. And it would be fun to use it in PvP. Really annoying if it gets used against you, but hey,
Yeah.
that's the game.
Or you bored and you just chuck a bomb so you can escape and eat some food. Like this,
Like Darkwing Duck.
yeah. You just they're rushing me with their swords, smoke bomb. I'm jumping from the top to the captain's cabin, and they're going to be confused. I think it would be a really cool addition.
Aye, that's
But obviously make them rare because that'd be really annoying if someone had 5 and they just spammed and you can't
aye.
see anything on your own ship.
Hi, indeed. That's a good idea. So let's go to the final subscriber question. That's from eWalsh. Do you think the Sirens are going to be a persistent threat in terms of the lore going forward, or will they not focus on them after this season?
I think they've set them up to be the main bad guys, at least for the considerable future. And if the Siren Queen is dead and Flameheart finds out what's happened, there's going to be a bit of teaming up of sorts there to destroy the Sea of Thieves, which is not good for us. So to answer your question, Lee Walsh, yes, I do think they will be a big persistent threat in terms of lore going forward until they're defeated.
I indeed. And I want to add to that. I think we will see more of the Sirens too, like not only in the lore but also gameplay wise.
Yeah, it seems like they were introduced in a pirate's life, and now that's our arc now, and they're bringing some arcs together between different characters and factions and what have you. It feels like the story actually has direction now, rather than fast forward to end of Heart of Fire and we didn't hear anything for months, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? Where's
Aye.
this going? And now we've sort of been feet back on the ground, and seems like we're getting lore quite frequently now, and that's going to just come out as it is, rather than is the story going to continue? It's probably going to continue in each season now, I think.
Aye, indeed. I have some topics left that we can discuss. Obviously, they added a lot of cosmetics to this season. Kind of want to go over this quite quickly. I really like all the cosmetics that have been added. All of them feature this spooky theme. I like spooky theme. I love October. Love Halloween. I like basically everything except the Golden Nile stuff. Obviously, most of my subscribers know there's no hippo in there. I don't like it. I want hippos in my game, not crocodiles. Apart from that, I do like most of the cosmetics this time. Wanda Spyglass is a bit iffy. It's a bit weird, like for a final reward. But like I said in my review, I will save my real opinion for when I actually earn that damn Spyglass. Anything you want to add to the cosmetics?
Too much gold as per. Like, honestly, this is the best season pass they've done. They got rid of the stupid titles. The cosmetics all look really good. There's no recolors in there. The only things letting it down is the lack of Pirate Legend stuff. 2 is a bit meager considering what we had like
Mm.
5 in season 1 and it's just been going downhill, which they
Hmm.
both look really good, I do admit. And we still got so much gold, and it's like you could put a recolor set in there because we know they've got loads of them, and we only got 1 recolor set or clothing set as part of this update. And it's a lot more cost effective and fulfilling if you just recolor a current set and stick it in the season pass, because it bulks out loads and people think, oh, the season pass is great. I want to go earn that stuff. Look how much content I've got. But again, too much gold. But I agree with everything else you said, to be honest.
All right, cool. So quickly, the other additions, we have events like in October, the Fury of the Damned is going to start, where we will be doing the same stuff as always, collecting flames, defeating. Wanted to say flame, but now defeating Grey Marrow and stuff like that. So I'm guessing you feel the same way about events as you do every podcast.
Uh, events. This event does look okay. I know the challenge is still a bit naff, but like the stuff we can earn is cool, and it looks like there's some community objectives as well, which is nice. I'm sure we're gonna smash those. Come on, team, we can get that stuff done. Um, yeah. There is one thing you did forget to mention, and I'm
Oh.
gonna scold you for it now. New emissary rewards again,
I
which
thought I thought that wasn't that exciting. It kind of went without saying, but yeah, go for it.
I don't know. Have you seen all the new sales?
Yeah, look pretty awesome.
They look fantastic. They're the best sales I think we've had in a very long time. And we've got a new Athena ship set starting as well. One thing of note I did realise while we're on the topic, in the
Mhm.
trailer you can see a new flag for the Order of Souls, but I can't find that in the game anywhere.
Ah, yes. Well, apparently, again, I had a comment of one of my subscribers. Like apparently, there's not that much communication going on between the promotional team and the development team. As a joke, he said that because often some rescolors that haven't been announced in the game are being used for promotional materials. So there was this kind of this white hats of a Sea Dog hat, or I don't know any. I don't really know precisely, but that is not in the game yet. But it is in the promotional material, and
Frost,
they have done so in the past too. Just little mistakes like that.
Frostbite Lantern on the season 2 screen doesn't come to the game yet. It's on the screen. Like, come on. Like, we know the sets are done. Doesn't take a genius to work it out. There's no need for it. Like, Silent Barnacle figurehead. Where's that? It's done, or actually they did. I don't know. Maybe it's not done, but I'd assume it is because it's just it's a retexture. It's not. Oh, I know it's not that simple, but it's easier than modeling a new figurehead and what have you. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it
just
feels weird,
annoying.
right? Like getting the entire ship set except the figurehead. Like, all right.
And it will be really annoying having to wait till January to get a flag that was in the trailer for the last season. And logic dictates now that, considering Athena's just had weapons, the next few sets for the non-Pirate Legend faction should be weapons.
Hmm.
So I think we'll get 2 weapons and 2 weapons in season 5 and 6.
Aye. But
Maybe,
to clarify, these new rewards, right? You can only earn them if you've been keeping up with your ledgers, right? Like if you're not
mhm.
at that point yet, you're not gonna be able to earn these new rewards, right?
Yeah, but the way it works out, you have like 3 months to each season to catch up. So,
Mhm. Oh,
it's
we'll get it. We'll get
yeah,
it.
we'll
But
get it, obviously.
I'm talking about the average player, right? Because we're talking about, oh, have you seen that new ship? Oh, and then we get people exciting. Maybe people that listen to this podcast, and then they realize, oh, we're just at the very start of this ledger. Like, where are these awesome sales these guys are talking about?
But I think between the end of this month, next month, and what's it, October, November, you should be able to catch up and have it all before the next rewards come out, which is good. Obviously, won't
Mhm.
be the case going forward. So you'll be able to get 1, 2, 3, 4 rewards before the next ones after this drop. I do hate the fact that we still have to wait till the next month to get it, but this isn't too bad because it's the end of the month already, rather
Y-
than
y-
before it's launched at like the start of the month and we've had to wait like 8 weeks to earn our new rewards.
Yeah, indeed. And when they're done with all the updates, and people just get into the game, they have a lot of ledger rewards to look forward to.
Like, catching up on Inside is just worse.
Well, speaking about Inside, I still haven't missed a single week, so oh
Sad,
well.
sad.
Well, thank you very much. I think
um,
it's time to kind of wrap things up. We're talking about almost an
mhm,
hour now. So let's go to our conclusion. Oh no! Before we go to the conclusion, I promised I put a hippo fact in the podcast. So we've talked a lot about hippos, but let's talk a little bit about their jaw and their mouth. Like hippos have a huge mouth. They consist of lips that are 2 feet wide and teeth that can bite a 10-foot crocodile in half. Hippos can open their mouth to a massive 150 degrees or 4 feet wide, capable of biting a small boat in half. So yeah, a hippo will fuck you up.
yeah.
All right, so
what,
that's the hippo fact of today.
what do hippos eat? Fish.
No, no, they're vegetarians,
Why?
which is really interesting too because they're not predatory creatures, but they are responsible for killing the most humans, like more than lions or other flesh-eating creatures, because they're so territorial. So it's really weird because they're actually like herbivores. However, they do kill a lot of other creatures.
I suppose things like elephants and rhinoceri, I think I said that right, are also herbivores, but they're really dangerous because of their size and what they've got to ward off predators. But I guess maybe growing up or evolving in the Nile would have caused them to be like that, considering it's filled with crocodiles.
Yeah, maybe could be. Like a lot of animals in the wild, they prefer to drown their victims too. So first of all, they will probably break your bones first with their jaw or with their weight. Just their weight can is enough to shatter your rib cage. And once you're in, you can't run away anymore. They'll proceed to drown you, and that's how they kill people. Um,
Wow.
yeah, fun facts, right? It's also funny that you mentioned elephants and rhinos because those are the only two land mammals that are actually bigger than hippos. Like the hippo comes at place number 3, then the rhino, and the biggest land mammal is an elephant.
Wow. That's
Yep.
incredible.
Yep. So yeah, hippo facts. I hope people are satisfied now. For those who want to hear that. So let's go to the final section of the podcast, which is our conclusion. So how do we feel about season 4?
Overall, I'm really happy with it. I think you'll see that in my review once it's out. Now it's out. Sorry. Now this has been released. Yeah, there's very little to pick at here. It's maybe my favorite season, tied with A Pirate's Life. But yeah, that's the extent of it, really.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like you can say the argument is there, like it's a little bit short. I definitely feel like we get some more hours out of last season. However, I don't really care. The quality is really there. The experience is really good, so I don't really care that it's a bit quicker than last season. Certainly longer than than season 1 and 2, right? So that's a good thing. And like I said in my review, this does feel like a proper season. Like I said before, the Fortune felt like a monthly update. This doesn't feel like a monthly update. This feels like a big addition to the game that's going to be there forever. The only thing I'm a little bit sad about is like next month is October. I've mentioned this a couple of times. I like spooky stuff. I like the Fort of the Damned when that first got introduced. However, this year we only get Fury of the Damned and no new additions. Like I want a spooky edition. I want a Scout and Megalodon event, or like a big spooky fort with ghosts that we need to use our flames again, or anything. Right? Just give us something new for October. So that's what I want. Like it does. Like next year too. Like instead of making a season 8 with I don't know like new shrines or whatever, like focus it on Halloween. Like I would really like that. And that's my only complaint. And is it really complaint? Nah, I'm pretty happy with season 4.
My only complaint that it's not the captaincy update, to be honest.
And there's that as well. I agree. And presets. Like I'm itching for presets right now. I'm wasting 5 or 10 minutes just putting on cosmetics. Oh well, I can rant about that. We won't. We'll leave it to that. I think we're both pretty happy about season 4.
We haven't touched on the new dialogue in the Pirate Legend hideout.
We can do now. Go for it.
Yeah, so legendary Liz, the shipwright, has a new dialogue suggesting that she's trying to restore the sinking galleon, and that she'll sail out of the cave. And we know that the captaincy update originally had us sailing out of the Pirate Legend hideout where we'd actually spawn in there. So yeah, Blind Bob's got a new routine as well. So food for thought, maybe for season 5 if we're lucky.
True, and the rocks did change. I don't know which update that was, but the cave system definitely underwent some changes since its first appearance.
And the ship's been sinking for like the last 3 years.
All right. So are these hints to season 5? Only one way to find out. So that's it for this episode. If you would like to have your own input in these podcasts, please join the Discord. We have a special channel there where you can submit your questions you want us to discuss. So yeah, I want to thank AShinyRay for again being awesome. And can you tell our listeners where they can find your content?
So you can find my YouTube channel at AShinyRay. Just pop it in the search bar up there. You'll find it easy peasy. And you can also find me now where I stream on Twitch with Captain Blubber often, twitch.tv/AShinyRay. So if you want to interact with both of us, Blubber tends to sort of interact with the chat as well. Come say hi. It's a laugh. You get to see us a bit more unscripted. And yeah, it's just a good time.
Yeah, see us unscripted. That's really the unique selling point. So either way, check out AShinyRay as well. Just go to his channel, leave him a like, check out his videos, check out his review about this season. Please do that, and also do something daring. Steal some treasure, take care, and goodbye.
Take care, guys. Goodbye.